Don't eat the turkey. My neighbor texted me during Thanksgiving dinner. I looked at my daughter-in-law and froze. She was smiling at me, holding the gravy boat with a trembling hand, urging me to take the first bite. "It's your favorite part, Clara. I made it especially for you," she said, her voice dripping with a sweetness that suddenly felt toxic. I lowered my fork slowly. The smell of roasted turkey, usually so comforting, now turned my stomach. I looked at my phone again under the table. The message from Mrs. Higgins, my neighbor of 30 years, continued. "Look at the kitchen window. I saw everything." My blood ran cold. I was sitting at the head of my own dining table, surrounded by people who were supposed to love me, realizing that the woman sitting to my right might be trying to kill me. But what they didn't know was that I wasn't the helpless old widow they thought I was. And this Thanksgiving was going to end very differently than they planned. My name is Clara Miller, and I'm 68 years old. To the outside world, and specifically to my son Jacob and his wife Brenda, I am a simple, retired school teacher living on a fixed income. I wear clothes from thrift stores. I drive a 12-year-old sedan. I clip coupons. For the past 5 years, ever since my husband Thomas passed away, I have let them believe that I am barely scraping by. Why? Because Thomas and I built a real estate empire worth millions, but we saw how money corrupted people. We wanted to be sure our son loved us for who we were, not for what we had. Unfortunately, the test results were not looking good. Jacob and Brenda moved into my house to take care of me 2 years ago. In reality, they moved in because they had maxed out their credit cards and lost their apartment. Since then, I have paid for everything: the utilities, the food, their gas, even Brenda's essential manicures. Yet, in exchange, I received nothing but subtle humiliation. "Clara, you really should move to the basement," Brenda told me just last week. "We need this room for a home office. Plus, the stairs are getting dangerous for someone your age." They treated me like a piece of furniture that had gone out of style, a nuisance to be managed until it could be disposed of. "Mom, you're getting forgetful," Jacob would say whenever I questioned a charge on my credit card. "Maybe it's time we looked into assisted living facilities, for your own safety." They were gaslighting me, trying to make me doubt my own sanity so they could take power of attorney. I knew exactly what they were doing. I wasn't senile, I was observant, but I never imagined they would go this far. Not on Thanksgiving, not in front of the guests. The dining room was full. Brenda had invited her boss, Mr. Henderson, and his wife, along with a local lawyer, Mr. Purvis. It was a strange mix for a family holiday, but now, staring at the turkey on my plate, the pieces of the puzzle slammed together. They needed witnesses. They needed credible people to see me having a medical episode or acting erratically to justify committing me. I felt a bead of sweat roll down my back. My heart hammered against my ribs. I needed to buy time. "Is something wrong, Clara?" Brenda asked, her eyes narrowing slightly. "You haven't touched your food, and Mr. Henderson is waiting for you to taste it. It's tradition." I just need to use the restroom first," I stammered, playing the part of the frail old lady. "My stomach is a bit unsettled." Jacob sighed loudly, rolling his eyes. "Mom, really? Now?" "It will just take a minute," I said, rising with a feigned weakness. I walked out of the dining room, feeling their eyes boring into my back. Once I was in the hallway, out of sight, I straightened my back. My frailty vanished. I silently rushed to the bathroom and locked the door. My hands were trembling, but not from age, from rage. I dialed Mrs. Higgins immediately. "Martha, what did you see?" I whispered urgently. "Clara, honey, you have to get out of there." Martha's voice was shaking. "I was in my garden. I looked through your kitchen window because I saw movement. Brenda was there alone with the turkey breast she carved for you." "What was she doing?" "She was crushing pills, Clara. Blue pills. She ground them into a powder and rubbed them into the meat and mixed them into that little gravy boat she put next to your plate. She didn't put it on the main platter." just yours. Blue pills. My mind raced. Jacob had a prescription for strong sleeping sedatives that caused confusion and hallucinations if taken in high doses. They weren't trying to kill me instantly. They were trying to poison me enough to cause a psychotic break in front of a lawyer and her boss. It was the perfect plan, a public display of incompetence. I felt a physical pain in my chest, a heartbreak so deep it nearly brought me to my knees. I had raised Jacob. I had sacrificed my career for him. I had loved him more than life itself, and he was sitting out there, waiting for me to be drugged out of my own home. But then, the sadness turned into a cold, hard resolve. They thought they were dealing with a confused old woman. They forgot I was the woman who negotiated million-dollar contracts for 30 years alongside my husband. I wasn't going to run. I was going to fight. I hung up with Martha and opened an app on my phone. See? Brenda and Jacob didn't know this, but 3 weeks ago, after some of my silver spoons went missing, I had installed hidden cameras in the kitchen and living room. I needed proof of their theft. Instead, I got proof of their conspiracy. I scrolled back the timeline on the kitchen camera feed. 20 minutes ago. There it was, high-definition evidence. Brenda taking the bottle of pills from her pocket, crushing them with the bottom of a glass and meticulously mixing the powder into my portion. Jacob walked in a moment later. He didn't stop her. He asked, "Is it enough?" "We need her to lose it completely, not just fall asleep." Brenda laughed. "Trust me, after this, she'll be drooling on herself. Mr. Purvis will have the guardianship papers signed by dessert." I saved the video to my phone and emailed it to my cloud storage. The moment of truth had come. I washed my face with cold water. I looked in the mirror. The woman looking back was not a victim. She was an executioner. I unlocked the bathroom door and walked back to the dining room. The chatter stopped as I entered. "Feeling better, Clara?" Brenda asked, her smile tight. "The turkey is getting cold." "Much better, thank you," I said, my voice steady and clear. I sat down. I looked at the poisoned plate in front of me. Then I looked at Jacob. He avoided my gaze, focusing on his wine glass. "You know," I began, capturing the attention of the whole table. "I was just thinking about tradition. Thanksgiving is about gratitude and sharing." Mr. Henderson nodded politely. "Absolutely, Mrs. Miller." "And I realized," I continued, turning my chair to face Brenda, "that I have been very selfish. I always take the best cut of the turkey, the breast meat." Brenda froze. "Oh no, Clara, you deserve it. You're the matriarch." "Nonsense," I said, standing up. I picked up my plate. "Brenda, you have worked so hard cooking this meal. You deserve the best piece today. I insist." Before she could stop me, I walked over and placed my plate firmly in front of her. Then, I took her empty plate and placed it in front of me. "Let's swap. A new tradition. The cook gets the honor." The room went silent. Brenda stared at the turkey on the plate as if it were a loaded gun. Her face turned pale, the color draining away instantly. "Mom?" "Stop it!" Jacob snapped, his voice unusually loud. "Just eat your own food. Why do you have to make everything complicated?" "Complicated?" I asked, raising an eyebrow. "It's a gesture of love, Jacob. Why are you so upset? Unless there's something wrong with this specific plate?" The lawyer, Mr. Purvis, looked up, sensing the tension. "Is everything all right?" Brenda laughed nervously, pushing the plate away. I'm actually not hungry right now. My stomach hurts." "Really?" I said, my voice dropping an octave, becoming ice cold. 5 minutes ago you were starving. You said the turkey was perfect." "I said eat your food, Mom," Jacob shouted, slamming his hand on the table. "That's enough," I roared back. The power in my voice made everyone jump. I wasn't the quiet old lady anymore. "I know what you did," I said, looking directly at Brenda. "I don't know what you're talking about," Brenda stammered. but her hands were shaking so hard she knocked over her wine glass. Red wine spilled across the white tablecloth like blood. "Don't you?" I pulled out my phone. "Mr. Henderson, Mr. Purvis, I think you should see this before we continue dinner." I connected my phone to the large smart TV mounted on the dining room wall. The screen flickered to life. There, in high definition, was Brenda standing over the stove. The guests gasped. Mr. Henderson dropped his fork. On the screen, Brenda crushed the pills. Jacob walked in. The audio was crystal clear. "Is it enough? We need her to lose it completely. Trust me. After this, she'll be drooling on herself." The video ended. The silence in the room was absolute, heavy, and suffocating. Mr. Purvis, the lawyer, stood up slowly, looking at Jacob and Brenda with undisguised disgust. "You tried to poison your mother?" he asked, his voice low and dangerous. "It's not what it looks like," Brenda shrieked, backing away from the table. "It was just vitamins. She needs vitamins." "Vitamins don't make people lose it completely," I said calmly. "And vitamins aren't blue prescription sedatives stolen from Jacob's cabinet." Jacob looked at me, his face a mask of horror, not because of what he did, but because he had been caught. "Mom, please," he whimpered, trying to reach for my hand. "We were desperate. We have debts. We just wanted control of the accounts for a little while until we got back on our feet." "Desperate?" I laughed, a dry, humorless sound. "You have a roof over your head. You have food. You have everything provided for you. That's not desperation, Jacob. That is greed." Just then, a siren wailed outside. Blue and red lights flashed through the front window. "I didn't just call Mrs. Higgins," I told them. "She called the police for me." Brenda tried to run toward the back door, but Mr. Henderson, a large man, stepped in her way. "I don't think you should leave, ma'am." Two officers entered the house a moment later. Mrs. Higgins was right behind them, pointing at the gravy boat. "That's the evidence. Don't let them dump it." The police secured the food. They watched the video on the TV. "Brenda Miller, Jacob Miller," the officer said, pulling out handcuffs. "You are under arrest for attempted poisoning and conspiracy to commit bodily harm." Brenda collapsed, sobbing hysterically as they cuffed her. "He made me do it. It was Jacob's idea." "You liar!" Jacob yelled. "You said it was the only way." They turned on each other instantly, like rats on a sinking ship. As the officers dragged them toward the door, Jacob stopped and looked back at me. "Mom, you can't let them take me. Who's going to take care of you? You have nothing without us." I walked up to him. I stood tall. "That's the biggest lie of all, Jacob. I don't have nothing. I have everything." I looked at the stunned guests. "I own this house. I own the apartment building downtown where you used to live. I own 3 commercial plazas in the city." Jacob's jaw dropped. "What? No. Dad was just a manager." "Dad was a silent partner in the largest development firm in the state," I corrected him. "We kept it a secret to protect you from becoming exactly what you are right now. And as of this morning," I continued, "I have already contacted my real lawyer. My will has been changed. You get nothing. Not the house, not the money, not even a penny." "You can't do that!" he screamed as the officer shoved him out the door. "I just did," I replied. "Family isn't about blood, Jacob. It's about respect, and you lost yours a long time ago." The door slammed shut. The sirens faded into the distance. The guests stood there, awkward and shocked. Mr. Henderson cleared his throat. "Mrs. Miller, I am so sorry. I had no idea." "It's not your fault," I said, feeling a wave of exhaustion, but also a massive relief. "But I think dinner is ruined." "I can order pizza," Mrs. Higgins offered from the doorway, her eyes twinkling. I smiled, a real, genuine smile. I would love that, Martha. 3 months later, I sold the big house. It held too many bad memories. I moved into a beautiful penthouse in the city, closer to the art galleries I love. Jacob and Brenda are currently serving 5 years in prison. I haven't visited them once. I used a portion of my wealth to start a foundation for elderly victims of family abuse. I am 69 years old, and for the first time in my life, I am living for myself. My doctor says my stress levels are down, my heart is strong, and I look 10 years younger. I learned the hard way that you cannot buy love, and you certainly shouldn't feed those who want to poison you. Honesty, even when it hurts, is always the right path. And sometimes, the best Thanksgiving dinner is a pepperoni pizza eaten in peace. Did you like my story? And which city are you listening from? Let's meet in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next life story. With love and respect.